Hi, everybody. What's up? Or would you prefer, hey, guys, what's up? It's me, Francis. Can I talk to you about Houston, Texas, okay? Yeah. I got a problem with Houston, Texas, and I'm pissed, okay? I went to this place called Killen's Barbecue. Anybody here ever been to Killen's Barbecue? It's the best damn barbecue I ever had in my life, and now I gotta go back to Northwest Arkansas and eat shit. I have never been this mad in my life. Screw you guys. How are you guys not 900 pounds? I'm moving to Houston just to eat that guy out of house and home. I'm gonna pay his fucking mortgage. Okay? Good Lord. The beef tips. Did I say tip or tit? What did I say? Either way, I would eat a beef tit if that guy made it for me. That's how good that shit is. I'm seriously upset. So, those of you who don't know me, and why would you be here if you didn't? I'm YouTuber Boogie298. I've been on YouTube since that nice young gentleman was a baby. I don't think you were born yet. I've been on YouTube since 2006. I've seen it all. I've done it all. And I'm here to ask and answer questions about all of it. You want to hear about YouTube? You want to hear about stories of my life? You want to hear about the things I've been going through? And for those of you who don't know, the promo's been cut, the contract's been signed. I'm doing something I've spent my entire life scared to do. I'm gonna get into a fight. Who's heard about this? Does anybody know of a guy named by the name of Wings of Redemption? That man wants to fight me. He's another 400-pound man. And I say, Boogie, people have said some stuff to me that's got me a little bit worried. They're like, Boogie, aren't you morbidly obese? Don't you have polycythemia? Don't you have an enlarged heart? Don't you have high blood pressure? Didn't you used to be diabetic? Didn't you used to be 600 pounds? Isn't your back fused together? Don't your knees have arthritis in them? And I'm like, yeah, that's all true. But if you met the guy I'm fighting, okay, I think I'm going to be all right. But I think this, for me, is an opportunity to face one of my biggest fears. You know, the last person to hit me was my own mama, okay? And let me tell you something, she hit harder than Wings, I promise you that. But it's been 30 years since I've been involved in any type of violence. And I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace my power. I'm going to face my fears. I'm going to do some stuff that I've never done, provided Wings doesn't back out, which I still think he might, if I'm being honest with you. He's got a few days left, and I think we might get that resignation letter at some point. So, but here's what I need from you right now. Here's what I absolutely need from you right now. I need to know, do you think I can win this fight? If you do, I need to hear it right now. Do you think I can win this fight? Because I will tell you something, I ain't never fought nobody in my life. You know, you don't hit your mom back. That's a big rule right there. She brought you into this world, she will take you out, okay? And that's her prerogative. So that said, it's been a really interesting time. So if you have any questions about that, I'm glad to answer them, absolutely. And here's something I debated talking about today, but I think it's important I talk about this today. Mentally, I'm doing exceptionally well. And you guys have watched me struggle with my anxiety and my depression. And I want to give you some information that I learned. And I learned it in a pretty atypical way. I took the hippy-dippy route, if I'm being honest with you. But I don't necessarily recommend that to anybody in this room, okay? You can get where I am through therapy. You can get where I am through practice. You can get there by learning the fundamentals, and I hope that's the way you do it. I had to hit the help button, okay? I had to be like, tech support, help me figure some shit out. I'm screwed here. This video game sucks, and I'm losing, and I don't know why. And the universe just kind of stepped in and said, hey man, you ever try hitting that A button? Because you can jump when you hit that A button. I was like, I didn't know. I just kept falling in pits. That's what it was like, okay? So I learned two crazy things for me. I learned what anxiety is for me, and it might be the same for you. I learned anxiety was about control. I wanted to control my own thoughts, my own mind, my own feelings. I wanted to control the people around me because I'd been hurt, and I didn't want to hurt others. I wanted to control the world because it's so scary. I look at the news and I get confused and afraid. And that's what anxiety was for me. It was an attempt to control the world. But you can't. The only thing you can control is up here and in here. That's all you could ever control. There's nothing else to control. Can't control another person, can't control the world. You can control your mind, you can control your feelings with practice and time. But because I couldn't control the world, because I couldn't control people, that's what led to my depression. My depression was the equivalent of rage quitting fucking Wizards and Warriors, man. Like, I don't want to play Ghosts and Goblins anymore. This game is terrible. I'm not going to beat this game. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys ever, what's the hardest game you ever played? Let me hear some hard games. What's the hardest game you ever played? You right there. What's the hardest game you ever played? Ghosts and Goblins? What about you? Hardest game you ever played? Fuck, that game's hard. The remake's a little bit easier. They made, I don't know what the breaking, anyway. But, which one? Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, some tough games. That's what those games, that's what life was like for me. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to play this game anymore. I'm just not. I'm just going to sit on my ass and play better video games. But, you know, here's what I learned, man. Who here is old enough to remember renting video games from Blockbuster? Yeah. Now, when I would rent a video game from Blockbuster, it was the 3-day deal. You remember? You get it for 3 days for $5, right? Yeah. So we'd go into town where the Blockbuster was. We'd spend $5. We'd get the game. Now, I've got all my old games I've played before, but whatever that game is I rented, Ninja Gaiden, Ghosts and Goblins, whatever, a hard nightmare, I plug it in, and I'm like, this isn't a game, this is an endurance test. This isn't a game, this is an attempt to make me break my controllers. Why did you make this game like this? The game was hard, the game was shitty, and we still played it, didn't we? Because that's the only game we had that weekend. So we played it to our heart's content, and 9 times out of 10, you probably beat it before you took it back that Monday. And by God, here's how they really got us. When Monday rolled around, if you hadn't bid it, some of us just paid the fucking late fees because we're not going to lose to Ninja goddamn Gaiden, are we? Right? No. That's life. Life is hard. Some of you might have it on easy mode, but I imagine if you're at this convention and you're a fan of mine, you probably ain't playing on easy mode. We're struggling. We got our issues. The whole world's struggling right now. But this is the game you have. This is the only game you get to play this weekend. So are we going to sit on our ass and twiddle our thumbs and watch cable TV? Or are we going to beat the fucking game? We're going to beat the game. So that's the thing I learned through all of this hippy-dippy stuff. It all comes down to the challenges that life is putting in front of us. It doesn't matter if we have anxiety. It doesn't matter if we have depression. It doesn't matter if we are struggling with our mental or physical health. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is the game. And by God, I know everybody in this room is going to beat it. I know you will. I believe in you, okay? All right, give yourself a round of applause. I want to hear that confidence. I want to hear that you know. Yeah. Hell of a world, isn't it? And it's a great convention, man. Me and my friend Mike here, another YouTuber kid behind the camera, I told him to get up here with me. He said, no way. But he's at my booth. You want to come meet him? He's one of my best friends, one of my favorite human beings on the planet. But we're walking around this thing, and he's like, oh, my God, freeze-dried candy. I always wanted to try it. I saw it on TikTok. He's the happiest he's ever been. And we walk past some of this art, man, and I'm like, I don't have room in my house, but, oh, I gotta have it. Who's bought something today? Who's bought something? Raise your hands. It's hard not to. I don't have room in my house. Who's running? Oh my God, that bag in the back, he's bigger than he is. What did you buy? Every console ever?
Maybe about half of them.
Good job, man. I hate to be your landlord right now because you ain't paying rent, are you?
I'm doing it. I find a way to waste my money.
Look, man. Look, if you have that much, you better open a store, okay? You're done buying. You need to sell. What are you, AVG in back there? Come on, man. Make some fucking room. That's sad. It's nice to hoard, isn't it? But it is a great life. It's a great world. It's a great convention. I'm having the time of my life, and I hope you guys are too. So, let's talk video games. I've been playing a lot of Magic the Gathering, man. I got to know what you guys are playing. What do you recommend? What am I missing out on right now? What are we playing? What are we playing at home right now? What have you been focusing on? Ooh, like actual sports? Like get out in the world and fight people and like fucking play. What sport you play? Dude, baseball? Dude, the only thing I can do is baseball is be the fucking field, okay? you can play baseball on me. I can't hit, I can't run, I can't throw. I can watch it and eat popcorn. That's what I can do. You call me out there. Oh, right. Yeah. Mike, we get some of the freeze-dried candy. We'll go to a game, okay? Who's going to win? What do you play? What do you play in baseball? Is that a game or is that a position? Okay, all right, okay. So wait, are you playing actual physical baseball? In the show? No, okay, all right, okay, okay, I'm like, when the fuck did you crawl into a video game? Oh my God, Elden Ring was so good, wasn't it? Good Lord. So I have an Elden Ring story. I think it's a good time. I would, when it comes to From Software games, I would rather punch myself in the balls than play one of their games. Yeah, because that is exactly, like man, listen, like I said, you remember when you were renting Ninja Gaiden, you had to beat it. I don't have to do nothing no more. I'm an adult. I'm a YouTuber. If I don't want to play it, I don't have to. Except, I bought Elden Ring because everyone was talking about it, and I played it for an hour. And I got frustrated, and I legitimately, no Francis here, I legitimately threw my controller onto the ground out of frustration against the boss I was fighting. Uninstalled. So that weekend, I have my usual Saturday gatherings, and my friends come over, and they're like, oh my God, are you playing Elden Ring? Oh yeah, I beat this one boss. Oh, did you beat Margaret? Oh yeah, there's a bit of oh, I found this one dungeon that's got a cat in it, and I got a ring, put it in my butt, whatever. I'm like, man, what game are you playing? It's Elden Ring. No, it is not. They're like, well, what did you do in Elden Ring? I said, I walked out the dungeon, the opening dungeon. I got killed by a tree guy with like on a horse. Then I went to a smaller dungeon, and I got killed by a wolf guy. And number one, they're like, wait a minute, that wolf guy killed you? Because, he's like a newbie dungeon, man. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a newbie. What did you expect? And they're like, Boogie, you're playing the game all wrong. Oh. I'm like, how do you play a game wrong? Like, it's not like I got the controller upside down. But he said, you're just playing the game wrong, man. Let me show you. So they picked up my controller, and they beat the boss. They're like, you gotta dodge, you gotta roll, you gotta do this. And I'm like, I hate every one of you for enjoying this game. I hope you all die. Okay? I told them that. I'm dead serious. My close friends in like 20 years. You can say stuff like that. So, I'm watching a YouTube channel, which I highly recommend. It's Girlfriend Reviews. Does anybody know Girlfriend Reviews? It's a girl who watches her boyfriend play video games and talks about what it's like to watch her boyfriend play. Great concept. Brilliant. One of the best YouTubers out there now. Top of the list. They shot right past me. They shot right past you. They're doing good. Anyway, they talked about her playing the game. And she's not a gamer. She doesn't really play games. So she played Elden Ring. And that made me a little jealous because I'm sexist. I'm 49. I'm like, this girl's beating this game. I'm going to beat this game. And she said the way she was playing it, she would go explore. If she found something she couldn't beat, she went and explored the world and gained experience and leveled up and got better gear. And then she came back and fought the thing that she was having trouble with, and she won. That's how I was playing the game wrong. So that's what I did. I went and explored that beautiful game, and I fought the things I wanted to fight, and I ignored the things I didn't want to fight. And I don't mean to be a hippie, but ain't that how life is supposed to work? So many of us grind right up against the same challenge, the same demon. We just like, I need to do this. I got to do the thing. I got to do the thing. Dude, you ain't doing it, though. But I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying to beat this boss. There's a whole world out there to explore. And Elden Ring turned out to be my game of the year. My God. Game of the year, right? Am I right? What's going to be the game of the year this year? What's your contender so far? What have you played?
Hogwarts.
Which one? You? Hogwarts? Oh. Let's see Hogwarts. Raise a hand for Hogwarts. Raise a hand for Resident Evil 4 remake. Remakes don't count. Put your hand down. I don't care how well you remade it. I don't give a shit if it don't even look like the original game. If it has the same name, it don't win. It's gonna win too. That's the worst part about it. It makes me so mad. Oh. You know what I did? Tears of the Kingdom. That's gonna be game of the year, right? Tears of the Kingdom. Come on, man. There's no other game. There's no other game. Everything else can just take a dump. Have you seen the trailers for Return of the Kingdom? Have you seen the trailers for Tears of the Kingdom? What are they? Zelda 2 is what we're calling, okay? He's like gluing trees together and shit and making rafts. There's a physics engine in this game like no other physics engine in any game. It's this generation's Half-Life, man. They're breaking all the rules. They're changing what games are. I'm telling you something. I'm supposed to fight Wings of Redemption the next day that comes out. I ain't sleeping before that fight. It comes out the day before. I'm in trouble, man. I'm going to walk up to that ring like gluing boats together. I'm like, one second. He's hitting me. I'm like, 1 second. Hold on a second. I almost put that fish bladder on here. Hold on. That's going to be a good game. Resident Evil 4 remake, man. They put some good effort into that. How do we feel about remakes in this room? If you like them, raise your hand. If you like a remake, okay.
It really depends.
It really depends. And I think Resident Evil 4 got it right.
I feel like they're oversaturated. But
Oh, they're absolutely oversaturated.
Four deserve one, but it was good.
It's 4 is arguably the best Resident Evil game. I'm a bigger fan of 7, if I'm being genuine, but it was my first that I really got into. But that said, they earned it with Resident Evil 4. Here's something they did. If you haven't played Resident Evil 4, this is not a spoiler, okay? But in the original, if you played through the game, you know the best spots to hide. You know the best spots to pick up gear. You know. So what they did in this remake is they psychologically used that against you. So one of my favorite things I saw, haven't played through it yet, but I'm watching a creator play, and they go up into this bell tower in the village scene where all the monsters are coming at him, and he's like, "That, yeah, this is a safe spot for the original game." Falls through the floor. You can't fall through the floor in the first one. They weaken the floor in the second one to use that knowledge against you to keep you constantly afraid. Really? That's incredible. Who does that in a video game at all? Who does that in a remake? Imagine making you afraid of your own past knowledge from having played the original game. That's a masterpiece. So I don't know, if I'm being honest with you, if it won, I would still be mad because Zelda, right? But if it won like Game of the Year, I think I'd be okay with it because that's a hell of a remake. I don't want you just to slap a new coat of pixels on it. I don't just want you just to up-res it. If you're going to remake it, I don't mind playing the old school games. I love playing the old school games these days. I do have an emulator at home, I'm going to be honest with you. Who emulates? And then, now who collects the old stuff? Who collects the real stuff? You rather collect the real stuff? There is nothing like... I got to do this for my 45th birthday. I got to plug in an old school NES, just like when I was a child. And they had the right cords to hook it up to my giant TV, so that was different, I ain't gonna lie. But I'm practically blind at this point. I'm old, and glasses thicker than an old returnable Coke bottle, right? So, but I sat down and I slid Super Mario 3 into it. And I transported in time 30 years back. There's no feeling like that in the world, is there? Dude, I went and grabbed a Pepsi. I don't drink Pepsi anymore, man, but I had it for this moment because that's what I drank as a kid. I wanted to be able to smell it and taste it. Who here travels up to Dallas every once in a while? You ever been to the Video Game Museum in Dallas? If you haven't been, ooh, I have a video of it on my channel, so go watch that. But the second best thing to do is to go there yourself. They got some classic arcade machines. They've got stuff you've never seen, like Pong variants, the very first video games, emulation games you can play, consoles you've never even heard of, games you've never even heard of, behind shelves collectibles you've never seen, one of a kind prototypes behind glass that you can't touch because it's crazy. But they have a bedroom. And that bedroom has one of those big floor model CRTs. And it's got a little cheap Sears bed. And it's got some posters of Mario on the wall. And it's got that old school wood paneling that was so popular in the 80s. You know, the one I'm talking about? It looks like fake logs, but it's clearly plywood. Like you punch that once because you're mad at the video game and your mom sues you. That kind of wall. But I sat down on that bed and I was afraid to do it because I'm fat as hell. But I sat down on that bed and I grabbed that controller and I looked at that television. And I was 14 years old again. Oh, go there. Go there. Tell them Boogie sent you. I don't even get a kickback. I think I should. So that said, let's see what time we're on. Have I been talking nonstop for 20 minutes? Good Lord. Did any of this make sense? I don't even know anymore. I'm doing everything I can to just not talk about my acid trip, if I'm being honest with you, because that was a good time, man. We will talk about it. If you got questions, I'll talk about anything. I'm an open book, but I'm not trying to push nothing on nobody, okay? You believe what you want to believe, and you live how you want to live, and that's it. But, boy, I'm living weird now. My shaman, so here's the story. I'll tell you this much of it. So there's a documentary that'll be coming out, and this guy came to my house. He's like, I want to shoot a day with Boogie. And he's also doing it with some other big creators. I can't say their names, contractually obligated, but he's lining them up. Mine's going to be one of them along with the other ones, right? And he's saying it might drop at the end of April, but now it's the end of April, so now it's maybe going to be the end of May. He'll drop it when he drops it. But we filmed for 7 days. And he's like, all right, what's some weird stuff we can do? I'm like, let's go for a job interview. Everybody thinks I'm broke. Let's go to the job interview, right? And he's like, okay, let's do that. Let's get a fashion designer in and like have him give me a makeover, right? So we did that. That's why my hair looks the way it does. I know I look like I'm constantly surprised right now, but I'm growing it out, okay? But I look like I look like Ray Stantz in Ghostbusters right now all the time, but that's okay. Well, I mean, if Ray really let himself go, right? But still. And I'm like, well, there's this Native American shaman who's been wanting to give me mushrooms for a while. And that was on the last day. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you were hiding this from me for 6 days? Call him. Now, here's the thing. That's like legal gray area in Arkansas still. I mean, in Colorado, you can buy them off a gas station shelf. But in Arkansas, that's a very long time jail time for. And I've been to jail for 3 hours. Don't recommend it. Highly against it. Obey the law, assholes. Okay, anyway. That said, we went out to the woods, and it's a Native American ritual site that the mayor of Bentonville owns. And there's a beautiful waterfall and a beautiful lake. And he gave me 5 grams of penis envy mushrooms. Very fitting for the record, if you guys know. Penis envy is exactly just call me that from here on out. That's accurate. And then I left my body, and it was great. My favorite part about the documentary is they caught it on camera when my body pissed itself because my brain wasn't in it anymore.
Would you recommend trying that?
I would recommend, here's what I would recommend. There is, if you are dealing with anxiety and depression in parts of the country right now, you can work with an actual therapist and take ketamine treatments, which is going to do the same thing that I did. The thing is, some of us can't afford $1,200 a pop. I would say look into this stuff if you are struggling with your life, because I've been struggling with my life for a while. I've been struggling and enjoying it. I've been struggling. Man, you guys know, I just didn't want to be here for a long time. I was real unhappy. I would recommend it if you're going through something like that to find a shaman, to talk to a therapist about the ketamine treatments. I also was working with a traditional therapist as I was working with my psychedelic therapist. Combining those two, I think, kept me grounded, kept me from going, oh, there's spiders in my teeth. God help me. We're all vampires. Bill Gates is an alien. That can happen to you. Be careful. That's why I don't recommend it. Some people end up in hell world when you take this stuff. So that's a danger as well. So I can't recommend it to anybody, and I won't recommend it to anybody. I would recommend working with a professional above finding a Native American who's like, hey, you. Do you want to do drugs? Like, maybe not that, right? Maybe maybe don't, maybe don't listen to the guy standing in front of the come and go who claims he's a chief, okay? Maybe that's not going to happen, right? But I did, and I came out better for it. I think I did. But here's the thing. That's the thing about life. You come out better every time you get hurt, right? Every time your heart gets broken, it gets bigger, and it's got more room for more stuff. You get your heart broken, you're like, oh, I'm sad. Maybe you choose to be sad forever, and then you're an asshole. But instead, if you say, I'm going to go back out there and find someone else to fill up that new room. I got that huge gap from my broken heart. I'm going to find somebody to love me, and I'm going to find somebody to love, and I'm going to get better, and I'm going to get stronger, and I'm going to grow. That's how a muscle gets better. I've been training every day, believe it or not. I mean, when I say training, it's like 10 minutes a day because I'm fat. It's hard to train. But that said, that's how a muscle grows. You break the muscle gets torn, the muscle gets weak, the muscle gets tired, and then it grows, it gets better, and it gets stronger. So this is just one of the experiences that I got to enjoy. And it's one of the experiences that changed me a little bit. I will say, and I did, again, I didn't know if I was going to bring this up today, but I feel like I've been an unmitigated asshole for a while, and I'm so glad you guys are still my fans, because I've done some messed up stuff, man. I may or may not almost shot a guy. I will I will not admit to that. He had it coming. I'm allowed to say that now. That dude had it coming. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. That dude had it coming. Stay the fuck off my property, okay? Are we right? We're in Texas. I knew. Do it. Yeah, we had a guy stalking me, came on my front door, like, try to clown me and stuff, and I'm like, get the hell out of here, and I shot at him. I'm like, get that. Yeah, that's what I said. Get the hell out of here, get on my property. He said, no. I said, click. He left. It worked. I may be a felon, but it worked. Anyway, what I'm saying is, everything's a challenge, and that's what life is about. It's about challenges, you know? I'm looking at my friend Mike right now. Again, I hate to put the spotlight on him. He's a bit of an antisocial person, but Mike came from nothing. Mike came from nothing. I came from nothing, and that challenge made us the people we are. And I like Mike, and I think Mike likes me, and I think y'all like me. And hell, if you don't like Mike, you're watching the wrong YouTube channels, because that dude is funny. But that said, it's just another challenge. What I would recommend is just keep challenging yourself. Keep putting yourself in harm's way. How stupid. Let's be genuine. I know how stupid me fighting another guy is. You want to know a story? 5 years ago, I walked out of a movie theater. Watched some Marvel schlock. I don't remember which one it was at this point. Ant-Man. Oh, God. It was Ant-Man. It was the second Ant-Man, too. It wasn't even a good one. I kind of liked the third one, if I'm being honest with you. But, and I turned and I waved at my friend and I looked down at my phone and then I started to fall and I hit the ground and I broke my shoulder when I hit the ground, okay? What are the chances I can win a fight against another person when I lost a fight with the ground? The ground don't hit back. The ground don't move. This is a person. If I can't beat the ground, there's a real chance I can't beat a person. So I'm definitely going into the dude's 5 inches taller than me. He's got longer reach than me. He's 10 younger than me. His knees work. His back works. Oh, you can't do that. It's a boxing match. That ain't a street fight. If I could, I mean, I would Kerrigan his ass. I just hit him with a pipe, you know. But that's we're not allowed to do it. I stole that joke from you, Mike. That said, you're a good writer, Mike. You just need to write all my jokes for me. Get up here and whisper sweet nothings in my ear and make me funny, okay? Anyway, do you remember Epic Mealtime? Everybody remember Epic Mealtime? Did you guys see the highlight from his fight? He got his ass knocked out the ring. He got knocked out the ring. Go look that up on YouTube when we're done here. Don't do it now. Pay attention. But he got his ass knocked out the ring. He's younger than me. He's healthier than me. He's been boxing for 3 years. So there's a very real chance someone's getting knocked out the ring, and that would probably be me. But I'm doing it for 3 reasons. And I'll be genuine with you, okay? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to bullshit nobody. Free trip to London, and you already know I'm getting paid $10,000 to do it, which barely will cover medical bills in the end, but whatever. Let's do it. Let's party, okay? But that's a good reason to do it. Another reason to do it is because I'm hoping that'll inspire some of you guys to do shit you're afraid to do. Because number 3, I'm doing it because I am scared shitless to do it. Old Boogie keeps creeping up in the back of my head saying, what are we doing? I'm like, we're fighting a guy. Fucking why? We have video games to play. We got shows to eat. We got food to eat. We can sit on our ass and do nothing. Let's sit on our ass and do nothing. I'm like, no, we're doing this crazy shit. Dude, we could die. Good way to go. You gotta die of something. May as well die fighting for your clout, fighting for your future, fighting for your life, fighting to inspire others. Let's go! Yeah. So that's, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if I'm just a lolcow or I'm inspirational. Pick one. Let's say lolcow. Who thinks I'm a joke? And who actually looks at me and says, you know what? If Boogie can do shit, I can do it. If you feel that way, let me hear it right now. If you look at me and you know that if I can do shit, that you can do shit. That's what. And that's why I'm still on the internet. That's why I'm still at conventions. That's why I still do it. I do what I do. So God bless you guys. I love you guys so much. All right. We should definitely ask some questions. Good to see you this year. How are you, my friend? Do you have any questions for me? Anybody got any questions for me? We talk about anything. YouTube. Hell, I just met Keemster. I'll shit talk that fool. How about you right there, man? So, I actually have a podcast now called Power of the Internet. If you haven't listened to it, I think you'll like it. Third episode will be with the infamous Keemstar, in which he breaks down crying in that episode. And that should go up later this week, so I hope you watch it. But basically, the question he just asked me is, Boogie, what was your big break on YouTube? You started in 2006, what was your big break? So I started on YouTube just because I was bored out of my mind, and I was always fascinated with video and always wanted to be an entertainer. So I mostly ate French fries with my shirt off and went, you know, just goofy stuff. Why not, right? And then eventually, I was hanging out in my local gaming store, and I was judging Magic the Gathering tournaments and Dungeons and Dragons tournaments with the miniatures game, you know? And these people would come in the store, and they didn't know they were playing the game. This shit was life to them. Like, you killed my bullywug in the Swamp of Sorrows in a sanctioned game. That means my character's gone forever. I loved my bullywug. He was my bullywug, right? And I'm like, what is wrong with you? You need so much help. But I also remembered 16-year-old me going, I can't beat level 8-4. Jesus Christ, where do I even go? What pipe is the right freaking pipe? Right? I remember doing that. We all did that, right? I grew out of it, kind of. I did play Elden Ring. But I grew out of it. But it kept sticking in my mind. I was like, man, we are all kind of like that, right? It's kind of relatable. And then there was another guy there, and I hate that I'm admitting this, but I try not to filter myself anymore. There's a guy there who had a speech impediment. And let's just be honest. Most of the people in this room are weird, right? All a little bit weird. I like being weird. It's good being weird. It's fun being weird. I want to be weird. I chose to be weird. I choose it every day. Amen. Right? And so there was a kid there. His name was Casey. I've talked to him about this and thanked him. But when he was playing Magic, he had a speech impediment. He'd go, I'll quit my shumvoja. There's an accent there, and I know I could get canceled, so just don't leave this room, okay? But he's like, I'll quit my shumvoja and cast lightning helix at you. And I'm like, dude, I love this dude. I would sit down to Casey all day, and I'm like, Casey, what are you doing right now? I'm equipping lightning forger. Lightning helix. I'm like, oh, fuck, I love you, man. I would buy him dinner every night just to get to hear him do his thing. He was one of those gloriously unique people I've ever met. And one day they all leave, and I've been dealing with Casey, and I've been dealing with the Dungeons and Dragons players, and I'm cleaning up their mess because we're nasty. You all know we're nasty. I'm telling you, you ever help run a game store? We gotta fumigate that shit at the end of every night. It sucks, man. Shower, people. Please shower. I did not shower this morning. Anyway, I'm like getting frustrated at just having to clean it up, and I go, I can't believe you put bullywugs in my Swamp of Sorrow. I'm gonna hit him with my lightning helix. And my boss is like, that's what you should put on your YouTube channel. That's fucking funny. So I went home and recorded the first Francis rant. And it did okay. You know, like 10,000 views, which is real good for YouTube back then. But it wasn't until I made Francis Got Hacked, where I pretended that my World of Warcraft account had got hacked and taken away from me. And there was a content creator by the name of Ray William Johnson who featured it on his Equals 3 show. And, you know, he called me a genius. You want to talk about, boy, creators, we like attention, we like compliments. You call me a genius, I'll eat out your hand. You call me a genius, I'll clean your house, okay? So he called me a genius, and I'm like, man, maybe I have something here. And sure enough, the views just started flooding in. And all really came down to that. So if you were like trying to create content today, my recommendation would probably be, there's people out there with clout, collaborate with them as often as you can. You know, reach out to everybody. Do a podcast, do a show, show up in their videos, react to the videos, stitch it on TikTok. Whatever it is you can to do, get the attention of another creator, right? And then on top of that, find your focus, your hyper-focus, whatever it is that you are excited about, whatever it is you're passionate about. Find creators who are passionate about it as well, and work with that creator, work on your own, and collaborate with them, and show your passion for the thing you are doing. And if you do, you'll find people that are also passionate about it. And if you do this, don't ever do content creation for money. Because if you do it for money, you won't make it. Don't ever do content creation because you want to be famous. Because if you're doing it to be famous, you never will be. Do it because you love two things. The thing you're creating about, the thing you're including in your videos, the thing, and the act of creating it. Because the best people I know can't turn it off. The best creators I know don't know how to turn it off. Their camera's in their hand, they're vlogging everything they do, they're scripting in their head, they're working on other projects. If you are that person, if you are doing it for the love of doing it, if it makes you happy. Basically what I'm saying is if you're autistic. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you have autism and you're hyper-focused and you believe in what you're doing, it might turn out to be good. And if you fail the first couple of things you do something else. But eventually that hyper-focus will get you where you need to be. The best creators I know are somewhere on the spectrum. A lot of me don't even know it. You talk to them for 5 minutes, now that I know that I'm autistic and I've learned in the last year, I'm like talking to a content creator, I'm like, man, you so fucking autistic? Here's how I've learned to really tell when somebody's autistic, right? You meet somebody brand new, and you're like, hey man, how are you doing? They're like, do you know anything about combustion engines? And I'm like, no man, I don't really like combustion engines. Like, cool, I'm gonna talk about it for 15 minutes now. That dude's very autistic, but you know what? He'll probably create a really great YouTube channel about combustion engines. He's gonna be really good at what he does, right? So I don't know. I think anybody can do it, and I think genuinely, I think autism can be a curse for sure. I know some people that really have struggled, right? But I think for a lot of us, sometimes it can be our superpower. I think our struggles can always be our superpower, and. I kind of hate that Francis came from making fun of people to some degree, but I always remember the person I'm always making fun of with Francis is 14-year-old Boogie, who couldn't beat World 8-4 on Super Mario, threw his controller up against the CRTV, and it made that, you ever do that and you hear that clong? Oh, son of a bitch. I could go back over there right now. I'm telling you, when we're done here, I'm not even going to my booth. I'm going back there to where the emulation machines are. I'm going to go throw some controllers around. All right, another question. Who else has got one for me? Yes, sir. We do have a microphone. Step up to the microphone so everybody can hear you, if you don't mind.
Yes, I was wondering, what was like one of the first experiences you saw seeing a movie in theaters?
Very first movie I ever saw was at the Lyric Theater at St. Paul, Virginia, which they are restoring right now, the small hometown I lived in. And I remember the candy, of course, because I'm fat. They had those rocket pops. Anybody old enough to remember a rocket pop? There's like 4 layers of hard candy with like a waxy thing at the bottom. It's shaped like a rocket. I got one of those for the movie. And we sat down and we watched Bambi. And I was so young when the forest caught fire, I freaked the hell out. I'm like, what the hell is happening? The forest. And then Bambi's mom dies. Spoiler for a 40-year-old movie or whatever, you know. But that said, that was such a great experience. And if you go to theaters these days, they're kind of nice. Like I get it. There's some really cool theaters out there. They'll serve you food at your table if you want, right? Or sometimes they got the reclining chairs and stuff. But man, back then, I'm talking 78. Back then, going to the theater was like cool. Like it was the cool thing to do. People got dressed up to go to the theater. So I'll go there in my pajamas right now. I don't care, right? But people used to get dressed up back then. And it had these regal, like, red velvet lined walls, right? And the seats were all clean and nice. And no cup holders back then either. Ashtrays on the back of the seats because people would smoke in movies back then, but no cup holder. You had to hold your own cup. And they had a huge curtain in front of the screen, right? And they would play like, no commercials, no trivia bullshit. It was nice. And you would sit and you would talk with your neighbors. Oh, yeah, I haven't seen baby yet. Oh, I saw it last week. It was so good. How's your mama now? Oh, my mama's real good. You know, that stuff. And community. Remember community? Remember talking to strangers in public? It's great. And then the lights would dim and the curtains that covered the screen would move back. And you'd be taken to another world for 90 minutes. And in that world, Bambi's mom dies! Why did you do that to 4-year-old Boogie? Why? Well, here you go, baby. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, dude. Any other questions? Yeah, in the back. You come up? You don't have to, but you're welcome to.
Nah, it's easier than it looks.
Dude's roller skating. He's having a good day. Well, I know that game. I just can't remember the name of it right now.
Starts with a J, runs with a set.
I mean, Sunset Overdrive was the sequel, right? And I played Sunset Overdrive.
Not a bad guess.
Jet Set Radio.
That's the one.
That's the one. Sunset Radio is the sequel to that, right? The one they made for Xbox One? I fucking love that game. I love that game, though. Anyway, okay, yeah, hit me.
Right, at any rate, so just listen to the things that you mentioned. I can't help but feel like you're a mix of a shoulder angel and a shoulder devil. If you had to pick one or the other, which would you say you are?
Ooh. I'm trying not to describe this in terms of psychedelic stuff, but I don't think I can. So I'll put it this way. I think in a way without having to go into like 20 minutes of like weird shit. I think I'm on my neutral arc. I think this particular go around, I think I've been a fairly good boogie for the most part, but I definitely strayed into like bad boogie territory over the last few years. I've definitely done some things I ain't proud of. I'd like to think right now that Boogie's the shoulder angel and Francis is the shoulder devil. And I'm never truly honest about this stuff, but you're gonna start seeing it in videos more soon. I'm more Francis than I let people know. And I think Francis ruled the roost for the last 4 or 5 years. So I don't know, what would you say? I think your opinion is more important than mine.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Based on the advice you give, the way why you tell it to go out there, do things. That's what I see shoulder angel. But then the things it sounds like some of the things are reckless, which is something that a shoulder devil would tell you. But as long as reckless gets results, positive results, then I'd love to believe that's shoulder angel. If you ask me.
What if I told you? Because this is what I truly believe. And you can call me crazy, because I might be. I don't like that word much anymore. I don't think there is crazy. But what if I told you that life, at least for me, is about taking risks, is about going crazy, about doing wild shit, and really learning my power and learning my strength and maybe investing in crypto didn't turn out to be a good idea, but it turned out to be a wild ride, and maybe fighting this guy is going to turn out to be a bad idea, but I'm going to learn something from it. And I think that's the reality. Life is meant to be lived, man. I think we're supposed to climb the mountain. I think we're supposed to eat the food. I think we're supposed to make love to that person and get our hearts broken. And I think we're meant to just embrace the living hell out of it. And sometimes you're going to make that reckless decision in that process. And when you inevitably get hurt, when you inevitably deal with that bullshit. You have to clean up the mess. You'll be stronger for it.
Like a kid touching a hot oven for the first time.
Right. I swear to God, I seen on TikTok a video where the kid kept trying to reach for the stove, and this woman, like, it went viral because this woman did this, and nobody liked it. But eventually, the kid touched the hot stove and cried, and she called her child. Was like, "See, the stove is hot. That's why I want to touch the hot stove." But eventually, she gave up and let him touch it. And that's like people are like, that's child abuse, and I'm like, I don't think so, because eventually that kid's gonna figure out that stove is hot. Now they figured it out at 8 instead of 16, but they were gonna burn themselves at some point. They had to learn the lesson, right? I think we could try to protect our children as much as we want, try to protect them forever, but eventually they gotta live their life, right? So I don't know. I think don't get yourself killed, assholes. That's the rule. Here's the 2 rules I think in life. No permanent damage. Don't break something permanently. Don't get your head split open. Don't give yourself a stroke or heart attack. And don't die. Everything else is a fair game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that helps. There we go. Everything else is fair game. Thank you, man. That's such a nice way to put it, too. Got a question in the back? You can come up if you want. Or you can shout it. It's up to you.
Hi, so I host a Legacy EverQuest fan site, and I wanted to thank you for your interview with Brad McQuaid and ask how long until Pantheon falls apart? Or when do you think it's coming out? Ultimately?
I mean, Brad's passed, right?
Yeah.
I thought the project died with him.
No, it's still going.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so surprised. I'll be honest with you, by the end of that interview.
He seemed like he wasn't in the best place.
Yeah, okay. So, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but I also want to speak true. And I know EverQuest is important to you, and I know Pantheon is important to you, okay? I think Brad was a very troubled person. And I've spoken, I'm sure you have as well, spoken to people from Sony EQ and people that worked with Brad in the beginning, and they all tell pretty much the same story. Brad was a mess, man.
Yeah, there were old stories of some of his issues, but none of it really came out or was explored.
Right, which is good. I mean, people deserve their private life if they want to have it, right? But in that interview, and then after that interview, it was nice to talk to the creator of a game that changed my life. He made a game called EverQuest, which was one of the very first MMORPGs, and certainly the best early MMORPG until World of Warcraft came out a few years later. World of Warcraft? We ever play World of Warcraft? Anyway, I don't know where that came from. Good Lord. Anyway, let's just call it WoW so I don't sound like a lunatic. Anyway, but I heard a story, one of my favorite stories. He'd show up every day in the Porsche, and then he would sit in a dark room and play his game. And people would be like, hey, man, he played on my server sometimes, by the way. He was in this guild, Keepers of the Faith, if you've heard of that guild. Yeah, we were on Prexis.
He was always popping in EverQuest servers.
Yeah. But his one of his actual playable characters that he did raids with was in Keepers of the Faith on Prexis, and I was on that server. That said, they said that you go to him and be like, hey, man, what do we need to do about this and this? We're working on the new Kunark expansion. What are you like? I don't know, just do it, man. I pay you to do it. Just go do it. Yeah, but we need like an executive decision. Yeah, you're the executive, man. Go do it. I'm playing my game. Shut up. And so eventually they had to let him go. And then he raised a tremendous amount of money to create a new game, and then that game fell apart. And then he's like, no, the game's going to be fine. He used a lot of that money to pay back taxes and stuff. Is that correct? He spent a lot of it.
Yeah, it was paying himself and paying his employees.
Right. Paying himself, paying his employees, and the money kind of went away, and the game never really... Making a game independently, especially when you're trying to do cutting-edge graphics and cutting-edge like mechanics and stuff, these days a lot easier than it used to be. There's a lot of tools and engines out there. Brad was building a lot of stuff from scratch, so that money evaporated very quickly. And to this day, we're 15 years into the development of Pantheon.
Yeah, it's approaching the 10-year mark, I think.
Yeah.
It's somehow still going partially on.
Yeah, it kind of breaks my heart because all I wanted was another attempt to play EverQuest better than EverQuest 2, I can tell you this. I play EverQuest the way I eat at buffets, okay? It's either all I can eat or I don't go in, okay? And so that's the reason a new World of Warcraft expansion comes out, and I'm like, either I don't do anything for the next month other than play this game, or I don't play it. Those are my options. So I choose not to play the new World of Warcraft expansions when they come out because I have an addictive personality. You might be able to have figured that one out. But if they ever made a new EverQuest, I'm gone. I'm going to be 800 pounds again one day. I'll be in my bed. But you know what? My body may be fat as hell, but my character's going to be level 80, baby. He's going to have that flaming sword. He's going to have the best gear in the game. I don't give a shit. Oh, okay. All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you for your question. Yeah. Who else? Who's got a question for me? Raise your hand. What's up? Yeah, hit me.
How do you feel demonetization influenced YouTube?
So I was an early victim of demonetization. They hit the Francis Mountain Dew video within a year of that video coming out, and they didn't back then. We didn't have yellow demonetization tags or anything. I just stopped making money off that video. Still getting views. I wasn't paying anything. Ads weren't coming onto it anymore. And everybody's like, Boogie, you gotta be rich. You gotta be rich. Somebody who bought my crypto is rich, I can tell you that. But I ain't. But I never made the kind of money old school YouTubers did. And I'm not complaining. That's just how it is. You know, I was never meant to be a millionaire, and that's all right. I'm okay with that. But it was frustrating. I went to a convention. YouTube flew me out, and I sat down with a gentleman by the name of Matthew Santoro, if you guys know him. Used to do 25 things that'll make you fart, This fact will make you shit, Those are some of the best titles, right? Like 19 facts about Pokemon that'll make you have sex with a cat. What does that mean? Matthew, get help. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and Markiplier's right here, and Angry Joe's right here, Casey Neistat, I Justine, Jake Paul, we're all at this thing. I don't belong there. I feel like I don't belong there. So I tell Matthew, I'm like, I don't belong here, man. And he goes, well, Boogie, every person in this room's a millionaire. And I'm like, not everybody. It's like, what? I'm like, yeah, man, I was one of the earliest people to get monetized. I don't know why. They hated my channel. Jesse and Kid Behind the Camera, they were doing the same thing. But for whatever reason, they picked me. And they're like, you are done. And so the adpocalypse happened. And I was like, see how it feels, you sons of bitches? Now you know. And everybody got brand deals and stuff. And that's where I made my real money, is when I started making brand deals and stuff. And check out my sponsors, Meta PCs. Anybody want to buy a PC? Use code Boogie, okay? That said, it changed YouTube, and it changed it for the worse, man, because YouTube wants to be TV now. I don't want to watch TV. And if I do, I want to watch something a hell of a lot better than somebody's making out of their bedroom. I want to watch Breaking Bad. I want to watch WandaVision. I want to watch something like high production, good value, something like that, right? YouTube has become so ridiculously boring. And I still get to explore my hyper-focuses, like Magic the Gathering unboxings and stuff like that. But everybody's just like, hey guys, today we're going to eat tacos. Hey, this taco begins with the letter T, right? Look, tomatoes are on my taco. That's a T word too. What am I watching, fucking Sesame Street? And the other thing that shows up on my timeline all the time is these hour-long video essays about stuff, and that can be interesting from time to time. I don't want to make it. I don't want to make hour-long video essays, man. And I don't necessarily want to watch it. There was a period of time, and I'm not saying I should be allowed to get up there and say the N-word. I'm not saying I should be allowed to get up there and hurt or attack, hate a group of people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I should be able to break a controller and say, fuck! Let's talk about, I can, I'm just not getting paid this week, right? Let's talk about Angry Video Game Nerd for a second. Who here has loved in their lifetime Angry Video Game Nerd? All right, now keep your hand up, right? Keep your hand up if you've watched him. Who still watches Angry Video Game Nerd? Good. Now, but let's admit, it's gotten worse. And a lot of people say it got worse because of his writers, it got worse because of his production company, it got worse because of this. That's not why it got worse. It got worse for one thing and one thing only, is that he's trying to make sure that his videos are within the guidelines of YouTube, which are constantly changing. So if I say shit today at the 9-minute mark, they're like, that's okay, you can say shit at exactly 9 minutes, congratulations. But if you say it at 8 minutes, we're gonna murder your family. And then the next week after you made the video, or the next year after you made that video, and you're still counting on it to get views, you're still counting on people to get to enjoy it, they're like, well, now that you said shit at the 8 minutes, that's no longer allowed. We're retroactively applying it to the 17-year-long catalog you've built of content. Now I'm getting punished for something I did 2011, dude. I'm getting punished for something I did when Obama was president. How is that a thing? So it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. But at the end of the day, some of us have found restrictions breed creativity. Restrictions breed creativity. Restrictions breed strength. If you tell me, Boogie, go in that room and entertain these people, you can do whatever the hell you want, okay? I might end up being funny and weird and cool, all right? But you might also say, Boogie, go in there and entertain those people, but you can't use vowels. And I'm like, fucking what? And I'm up here like, that's going to be one of the most memorable panels you've ever seen. You won't know what the fuck I said, but by God, you'll remember the time the Boogie went, and like wrote shit on boards to try to mime shit out. You would never forget that, right? Restrictions breed creativity. And so some of my favorite creators have found ways to make incredible content through those restrictions. And those are the ones I choose to watch. And those are the people that I love. And so, I don't know, I mean, let's just admit, that's why everybody's watching TikTok now. Right? 98% of us, they're telling me, like, there's a Chinese man in your phone who watches you poop now. And I'm like, all right, as long as I have something to watch. Chinese man can do whatever he wants to. Come make me dinner. I don't really care.
Are they actually spying on us through TikTok?
No, it's all bullshit. It's all, if you follow it, who here knows about the TikTok ban, okay? All right?
Yeah.
Who here is in favor of the TikTok ban? I'm in Texas. I know some conservatives in the room. Admit it. If you're in favor of the TikTok ban, you can raise your hand. I'm about to change your mind. Okay? Why is TikTok getting banned? Do you know? Because it's owned by China? No, because Facebook paid off every senator. There's paper trail. Facebook is losing views. Facebook is losing power. Facebook threw money at the Reels program to try to build it up. And when they failed to take over TikTok on Reels via Instagram, they realized their money shouldn't be given to creators. The money should be given to senators. And they did. And here's the thing. People pay attention now. And we have a voice now. And we have TikTok to discuss this stuff, which they hate. They don't want you talking about anything. They don't want us talking. They don't want us getting along. They don't want us expressing ourselves. They don't want us figuring shit out. They don't want any of that. They want to stop you from doing that. And TikTok allows us to do that. You can look at TikTok, and the first thing you're going to see is kid shit and half-naked girls, okay? So that's a good reason to get on it, if I'm being honest with you. But then after a while, you're going to find your hyper-focus. And if you care about politics, if you care about the world, if you care about psychedelics, you care about video games, you care about collecting cards, you care about whatever you care about, that algorithm's going to figure it out real quick, and you're going to get some really cool shit. And that means if you're worried about what's going on in this world, you're going to find people who will talk to you about what's going on in this world. And you'll actually figure shit out you didn't know, and I have, and it's scary. It's scary. That said, I don't want Mark Zuckerberg winning. Do you want Mark Zuckerberg to win? Do you want Facebook to win?
No.
No, of course not. So at the end of the day, if a Chinese man came into my house and took photos of me, I'd rather use TikTok than Facebook.
Yes.
And I just, for me, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be Mark Zuckerberg's lapdog. If you do, that's okay. If you want to be like, oh, Marky, let me lick your toes. That's okay. That's okay. All right? Dude just looks like an alien wearing a human suit. Jesus Christ. He's like, what if I just give that senator $2 million? You think he'll get it banned for me? Did you watch the Senate hearing? It was one of my favorite things in my life. They're literally up there like, now does TikTok connect to my Wi-Fi? So TikTok is now connected to my television because my television's on the Wi-Fi. Am I going to start getting Chinese commercials on my television? Let me ask you something. If I load TikTok on my phone, is it now a TikTok phone or is it still an iPhone? Okay? Well, how many Chinese people live inside my phone? Okay? Well, can I get me a Chinese waifu? No, then we're going to ban your app. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life, and I loved every second of it. It was incredible. Oh, my God, I'm out of time. Am I out of time? Okay, all right, guys. I want one more question. Can I have one more question? One more. Anybody? We're all the way in the back.
What's your plan to psychologically damage Wings when you walk up to the ring?
What's my plan to psychologically damage Wings of Redemption? Just let him continue to exist. Can you imagine having to wake up every day and be him? Good Lord, he's struggling, man. I like the guy, don't get me wrong. I got nothing but love and respect for him. But he's struggling, so I don't need to do nothing. But I do have a plan. Don't let this leave this room. But on my gloves, I'm going to have, look here, look, listen. And he's going to get a little bit of his own medicine. He's going to get a little bit of, look here, look, listen. I don't plan to psychologically damage him. I just plan to break his jaw.